Gene Jensen, and I'm hanging out at the 13 fishing offices, and I was thinking to myself, what can I do here for a video for my YouTube channel? And first of all, what I'm doing here is we've got the virtual iCast because of all this COVID-19 crap. We got the virtual iCast, and so I came down here to do some filming. But I am taking the opportunity to sit down with some of the guys here for 13, the designers, and really picking their brain and having them show you the new rods that are coming out and the new rods that are out, and then also talking about them themselves. So this is going to be the first video, and there's going to be a couple more. So first of all, who I've got here is I've got Ricky from 13. He's the rod guy and the bait guy, one of the bait guys. But the biggest thing that I have always said about their rods is their rods are always feel more expensive than what they really are, and he's really the person behind it. When we're talking about being obsessed,
A little bit obsessed.
a little bit obsessed. So I'm going to let him do a lot of the talking, but we're going to go, first of all, I want to know, Ricky, how you got started with designing rods.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story. So I went through high school and started some bass fishing stuff over at NDSU, North Dakota State University. I was going for business. And all the time I should have been spending in my books, diving in, learning the business side of things and marketing, I was totally, again, obsessed with the fishing industry. And I've always wanted to be a part of it. I didn't know how I was going to get involved per se. But when college fishing started, we started that club and we were starting to promote products, and it was kind of a cool thing that we really liked to do. But it just wasn't fulfilling enough for me. Like, the promotional side was cool, but just being involved in the product and the knowledge of the product was really where I wanted to be. I guess you could kind of say it was a blessing deal. Met Jim Coble, the owner of 13 Fishing, on the internet. It was actually via Facebook at the time, 180 likes. It's crazy to think that now, because there's hundreds of thousands now. They don't even call it likes anymore. But yeah, it was an interesting thing where he brought me down to iCast. I guess that was my interview for 7 days. I was just a young buck, never been on a plane, never been outside of Minnesota. I came down to Florida. It was hotter than the Dickens. And he called me up a couple months later and said, "Hey man, you want a job?" So my wife and I are newly married, and we just kind of sent it, and kind of under his wing for a couple of years, doing all sorts of different things as a young company does. He taught me the ins and outs of product, and he taught me the ins and outs of, you know, the rod side of things, which was really knowledgeable, and be able to soak up as much as I could. And I've always had a passion, again, like I said, for just the products in general. So it kind of all started there.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I always notice, and you guys that have watched me for years know how picky I am about stuff. I want stuff to be able to put up and work, even though I've used the snot out of it.
Yep.
And I guess I always say it's my job to break the thing so you guys don't have to.
Yep.
And I'm pretty good at abusing. Remember that one last year? It was a prototype rod. I had it in my hand for like 3 seconds, and I accidentally torqued it a little bit too much. But it was a light spinning rod.
Yep.
And we were there to test it. And the first thing I did was grab it and twist and bend it, and I just bent it too far. And
You get your jump.
Ricky's face went like this to this.
The highs and lows of building products.
Yeah, exactly, because it was probably a one-of-a-kind rod, so I'm pretty good at that. But what I want to do is I want to go through a couple of things. The new rods that are out right now or on their way out, and then I want to show one rod that's going to be out in the spring. So let's go through the Fate Black first, which is the one that's currently out, the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah, so this one's coming in right around $80. We've got all sorts of different SKUs, lengths and actions, if you will. But basically what we did is we took the original Fate Black and we refined it, and then we offer it to you guys at a little bit of a better and more competitive price point. The industry is really a cool thing because it's always evolving, like technology is. It's like, how is the iPhone previous, you know, how are they going to make it better? And technology continues to grow, and the understanding of like components and parts and pieces and the purchasing power and all those things add up as the industry grows to allow us to build you better products at a better price. So this one's going to be about $20 cheaper than the original Fate Black. We went with the EVA foam, the soft touch grips. You can take a look at this rod and just notice how simplistic it is. And that was the whole goal. We wanted to build a tournament ready rod for $80. Not everybody has hundreds of dollars to spend, so that's kind of the thought process there. Spinning, casting, obviously we've got different models. Got a cool finesse one that I don't have with me, but we can take a look at that later. But this is what the spinning one looks like.
Yeah. What is the difference in the blank, this blank, as opposed to the original Fate Black?
So they're a little bit sharper, if you will. So they're a little bit crisper, a little bit more sensitive. And just from a cosmetic perspective, we were able to remove quite a bit of paint.
Yep, so weight.
And which is a huge thing in weight, and it's also a big deal when it comes down to the crispness of the blank. A lot of guys love the colors, and that's a great thing, and we do too, but on this series we really wanted to kind of refine that and just go away with a lot of that paint. Honestly, a paint, depending on how it's done, can add anywhere from 4 to 7 grams, which doesn't seem like a lot until you do the conversions and you realize it is quite a bit.
Yeah, and if you guys go back and watch the recent Texas rig video that I did where I talk about dragging a worm really, really slow, I was using a fake black, medium heavy. I think it was the 7.3 medium heavy, and I can feel the fish's tail bump the line. If I'm dragging it really slow and I come up to the edge of a fish and I bring it up over top of them and that fish kind of swims off like they do, I can feel that. I can feel it flipping a shell from a shell bed. I mean, it's just crazy how an $80 rod can be that sensitive. Of course, it does take experience of being out of the water and understanding what that is, but just being able to feel it and know exactly what it is amazing.
Yeah, and that's one thing too around here this office is really good about. We're all just a bunch of fishermen, right?
Yep.
I mean, to the point where thank God the boss lets us do it, because we'd probably get fired anywhere else. To the point where Tuesday night tournaments come around, it's at 6, 7 o'clock it starts, and we're out of there by noon, just making sure ourselves ready. So it's just an obsession that the whole office has, which is cool.
Yeah, and you've got quite a good selection of actions and powers, and so that's, is there cranking rods too?
There is, yeah, we got three cranking skews, yeah.
Okay,
So the finesse spinning skew that's not here, we can kind of show that here in a minute.
And then there is, they run average $80. I know there's some that are a little more expensive.
Yeah, as we move up to like the swim bait skews,
you're
going to see those touch that $90, $100 price point, but everything's starting at right about $80.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, the next one is the Defy.
Yeah, so the Defy is one that really got a big facelift and a technology lift, if you will. For $60, it's crazy to think that, because like 10 years ago, what you'd get for $60,
right?
I mean, it would be. It's one of those things where you wouldn't even want to touch them. Looking back at it, it's just a tribute to how much further we've gotten. In the last decade. Compared to what, honestly, probably what a lot of people thought would happen.
A $60 rod, and somebody can actually go to a video and watch. It's the one, my original how to cast a bait caster rod. I was using it was a combo that somebody sent me, and I was talking about the rod itself, and you couldn't feel a thing. It was like fishing with a noodle, and that was a $60 rod. This right here, this rod, in my hand feels like 120 bucks. Between 100 and 120. Just the feel of it. We were out earlier today shooting with it. The flex of it and everything else. It's just, I can't believe you guys can do it for that. For that little bit of money and be able to make profit. So
it's wild too. I mean, this is stuff like from all tournament anglers that, especially here locally, and guys like yourself, and we can fish anything we want.
Right.
And stuff like this will be on our boats for certain applications, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, the big swim bait rod that I throw.
Yeah,
I throw 11-inch bull shads on a Defy.
Yeah, and it's an $80 rod.
It's an $80 rod, and I don't know how much an 11-inch bull shad is. $90, $120 swim bait. But yeah, dude, and that's what's really cool is that Ricky has the ability to design a good rod, but use the components and use the blanks out there that allow him to keep the price point low. Yeah,
and how we do that too is everything down to our reel seats and our trim rings and our grips and our handles, our hook keepers, that we tool that all ourselves. So we design that in CAD, we bring it over to our factories, and we tool that stuff. So we own all the proprietary components here, which helps. And which also allows us to really change the game, if you will, in terms of ergonomics and fit and finish for a particular product. We can custom build every single product line how we want. We don't just open up a catalog and flip through Pac Bay, flip through Fuji, and not saying they don't have good products, because they have wonderful products, but now we're able to customize and build and handcraft things where we're not just in the books buying components.
Yep. So. And that rod this is one of their spinning rods. A lot of you guys ask to do a lot of traveling in the car.
Two-piece.
That's a two-piece. And the ferrule, it's called a ferrule, right?
Correct.
Okay. Going back to my fly days.
Yep.
The ferrule is all carbon fiber, and the way it fits together. So you don't have the metal ferrule that absorbs vibration, it absorbs the feel, and it goes together nice and neat. I'm gonna give you guys a little tip. If you ever have your ferrule stick, just run your finger alongside your nose and it gives you just enough oil to where it'll still stick, but you'll be able to get it loose. So that's from the old metal days, the old fly rod days. But I'm excited because I love pack rods.
Yeah.
You made me a sample a couple of years ago of a bluegill rod that was a 4-piece.
We got a couple of those in the works.
Oh man, I guard that thing with my life. I don't let my kids use it. So yeah, that's what's really cool is what had the passion that Ricky has in designing rods. And in the next video we'll talk about baits, but designing rods themselves. And one thing that I love about 13 is, one, their integrity, and two, they're not here to try to make the most money.
No.
They want to make you happy and make enough money to continue making you happy.
And that's why we focus a lot of our time and effort into those price point style rods.
Yep.
I mean, that's where the market is. That's where people are that, you know, most people can afford. And we want to bring you a premium product above and beyond what you traditionally see within those retails.
Yep.
So.
Cool. Well, Ricky, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We will jump on the baits here in just a minute, but guys, check them out. I'll leave links down in the description to Tackle Warehouse, to all the rods. Oh, nope, I forgot one.
Got a little sneaky one over there.
Yeah, this is the sneak peek, because a lot of you guys have seen this on social media who follow 13. But this is the new Fake V3, and we wanted to bring it in towards the end because this one will not be out until spring of next year. And I'll do a separate video, but I know if I don't show this, I'm going to get a ton of questions down in the comments about the V3 because a lot of people have seen it. But this is another step up and at a $100 price point. And the ones I've gotten, you guys sent me 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I love them. I absolutely love them. And we'll talk more about those in another video. But the V3 is not available right now. It will be in the spring.
It's coming, yeah.
Yep. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.